All right, let's get working on getting the package actually onto our avatar. So for this, we're going to need the Avatar Manager 3.0 because we're going to be doing this the manual way. So to start off, what we really just need is our Unity package and just drag that right into our Unity scene. And here's going to be all of our animations, assets, and so on. Just go ahead and hit import. And now we have our PARMS folder here. And within our PARMS folder for potato arms, we have our AR. And within our AR folder, what we're going to be grabbing is our AR base and just dragging that right into the scene. And from this, we're just going to zero this out. As you can see here, this is zeroed and lined up with our avatar. You should be able to scale this, and at the same time, you can move around components individually as we get this set up. So yeah, right now what I'm going to do is make sure that this is also within our actual rig as a child object. And once that is set up, we're going to run through all the different gun position stuff because we need to start setting some references for your actual rig's constraints. So starting off, we're going to start off actually with our mag position here. And our mag position is actually going to be the position in which our backup mag is going to be stored. So when you're doing a reload, this is like where you're grabbing to go and get your actual secondary mag. Now you can put this really wherever you like. It's free moving, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure it's actually bound to a specific bone, and the way we're doing that is right here. So as long as you click on magazine position and set your source transform onto, for example, a spine bone here. I'm going to do spine 1 in my case because he's kind of lower here. Then you should be good. From there, we're going to go onto our back collider, and this is going to be the actual collider in which we're reaching back to go grab our gun. And again, you can scale this individually and so on. But what I like to do is I like to have this on my upper spine, so I'm going to do this on spine 2. And again, your spine bones, or your bones in general, might be named differently. So just keep that in mind. Just know that you're binding it to roughly around here, at least in my case, so that way it can stay onto your back. All right, so that from there, we want to go to our back position here, and this is going to be the back position for the gun. As you see, we're within our gun position objects here. So for this, I'm also going to do spine 2. As you can see, go to my left hand, apply left hand, and right hand. Now again, for the hands, this is either going to be your dedicated hand bone or your wrist bone, because it's going to be the root of the motion of your actual hand logic. So from there, that's pretty much it for all we need for all the gun position stuff. And another way to visualize this, if you want to see how the gun looks in these different positions, what you could do is you can actually go back up to the AR base rig object right here and change the weights of your parent constraints here. So if I wanted to adjust how it looked in the left hand, I could put it on the left hand like I just did. And now the actual left hand position component, I can move around and adjust however I need. At the same time, there's also subcomponents for the hands. So what these do is we have our left aim component, and this is what the gun is going to be aiming at. So for example, if the gun's in the right hand, like so, this left aim component determines what it would be aiming at in this sense. So if you needed to create an offset, move it off in case you have like a model with weird hands or so on, you could do it that way, and that's a nice and easy way to adjust where the actual gun is aiming. At the same time, we have our left mag component, and this is going to be where the mag is seated whenever it's in your hand. Now, the magazines are actually going to world reference object here, and that's because when you let them go, they need to fall in world space. So I'm going to use mag 2 here as an example. So if I go down to mag joint, I can do the same thing here with my parent constraint, swap out the weights. Now, the positions that the mag can be locked in are going to be mag locked, which is going to be into the AR, left hand, right hand, or in the holder. I'm going to disable the holder, put on left. And again, you can see here how it sits in the left. If you want to adjust how that looks, you just move around the left mag component and you're all fine and dandy. Alrighty. I'm going to put that back onto the holder because I like its positioning. Alrighty. So from here, that's the basics of actually moving around your components, getting them in different positions and getting them lined up as you like. But now we need to do one more thing with these constraints, and that's going to be our left aim constraint and our right aim constraint. And the reason I have this set up like this is because different rigs will have different orientations for some of your wrist and or hand bones. So I want to kind of go through this real quick and break down why this is set the way it is. So to start off, we're going to show off with the left hand here. And the way this is going to be set up is we're going to do left hand up here as our rolled up object. And in our advanced settings, we're also going to be making this our left hand. So what this does is it says, hey, we're orienting towards what our left hand is, while at the same time also moving our left hand. Our left hand is going to be what's aiming towards, in this case, our right aim component over here. Now, what's nice about this is that means our wrist will actually move along with the gun. But you have to make sure that your wrist is actually in the proper orientation. What do I mean by this? In regards to, for example, our left hand here, this is our left hand position, but I'll show you the left bone in a second. But to break this down, we have green or Y facing out, we have red X facing forward, and blue and Z facing down. If I come over to my left hand here, you see this is facing the same orientation. You need to make sure that you have this kind of orientation with your rig in order to do specifically your left hand here. If you don't, your aim constraint can get really wonky orientation and things will get jank. When it comes to the right hand, it needs to be similar but rotated. So it's going to be green out, X back, and still Z blue down. So pretty much you want to make sure your orientation is set up so that way your Z is down and your Y is always facing out. That's kind of the structure of how these constraints work. If they're not, then that's why I have things set up so you can do it this way as well. So left hand, I'm going to be showing how to do it with the actual wrist rotating with the gun. With the right hand, what I'm going to be doing is set this to right, hand position. Right, and then we're going to do the same for down here just like we did before. Right hand position. All right, so what this will do, and you'll see in the VR chat later, is that in the left hand, like we said, the actual wrist of your avatar, because we're having it be the target transform here, actually will rotate as you rotate and aim with the gun. But with our right hand here, what we're doing is the base of the gun is actually going to be what's moving regardless of the hand position. So in other words, it'll be like rotating in the hand. So it might not look as clean, but if your rig is set up in a different way, it still gives you the option of having it set up this way, so that you can actually still aim properly. So that's why I set it up like that way. Rigs could get very different depending on who makes them. So I want to make sure that people have the option to actually get this set up to whatever works for them. Alternatively, if you want to bang your head and get it to work with wrist, if your hand is not in this orientation, you could take your rig into Blender and make your bone into this orientation. Or try to mess around with the aim constraint stuff. But I do not recommend that. Aim constraints in Unity don't really have any good visualizer gizmos or anything like that. So I would do it on a Blender side, but that's just a side note. Either way, you have the options here to get this set up however you like. All right, now that we have this set up, now we can actually combine the animators, parameters, and everything else to get this set up to work with our avatar. So I'm going to just start closing that out a little bit like so. So first off, we need to get into our 3.0 manager here, and I'm going to drop off into our Potato V7 rig. Now within this, I'm going to go to our effects layer. I usually do things in the effects layer. And here we can see we have all the stuff that we have for my current avatar. But I need to add an animator for the gun onto this. So I'm going to say add animator to merge, and we get this little drop down. And our animators right here are AR anim controller. So we're just click and drag right up there. And you see that we have all of our extra animator layers and parameters here. And to keep things clean in my sense, I usually do merge on new. Now what this does is you will now create a new animator object. And we can actually view this by going to our avatar here, going down to this. And we see this says Potato V7 Rig 4. You'll usually get like a new number. I've done this a couple times. But as you can see here, in our animator, we have all of our old stuff plus all of our new stuff. Outfit's kind of where things ended with my old parameters here. But now we have all this and all of our new layers added in from aiming down. So this is pretty nice. This is working pretty well. Looks like things merged over just as we wanted. But not only this, we also need to combine our expression parameters for VRC. So what we're going to do here is go back to our AR folder here. And we see that we have our VRC AR parameters. What we're going to do is we have this drop down right here, just click and drag this right in here, and say copy parameters. And now on our root object here, we now have all of these extra parameters put onto that. And again, we can verify this by going back to our avatar right here. If we click on this guy, double click on that, we see we have all of our old, again, outfits was where it ended, and we have all of our new ones here as well. So that worked perfectly. All right. Final step is actually getting a menu set up so we can get into our extra menu features. The way I have this set up for myself here is I made a duplicate of what my current menu is. So I have potato V7 main menu, but over here I just made a duplicate potato V7 gun. All you really need to do is go into here, create a new toggle. So here I can actually delete this and I'll show you step by step. We're going to remove this image here. We're going to call this gun settings. Make this a submenu. We no longer need a parameter here. And then the actual submenu, we just want to bring up like so. Oh, sorry. No, not that one. That's our root one. We're going to go back to AR, VRC ARM right here. Or VRC AR menu. Right? So now our submenu that we have can now go into this. And then on the actual rig itself, you want to make sure this is where you want to put your new guy here. So that's pretty much it. From here, everything should be set up. I'm going to go ahead and build this and see how things go. Alrighty, now we're back in the VR chat side. I might sound a little bit further away. I'm still using my desktop mic instead of my Beyond one, so forgive me for that. But let's see how the avatar actually looks here. So we're going to go ahead and click on gun test here. And it looks like things are actually constrained properly and things are going good. So I'm going to grab with each hand and kind of show you guys what I meant earlier about the actual hand rotation stuff. So again, with our left hand, you can see that the left hand actually rotates properly when we're aiming with our gun. And that's because we set it to be the actual left hand that is being the aimed object, right? And this is really the ideal. This makes things kind of feel really good. But again, if you're balanced at the orientations, that's why we have the other option. So that's where you can come over here and you see, okay, so the hand is free, but we're still able to get proper aiming, roll control, and so on with the gun as we have in our hand. So if things kind of work weirdly in your case, that's why I gave this as an option. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, with that said, it looks like everything else is working great. Do kickouts there, grab this, go ahead, shoot things. And also with our menu, let's give a little check to that. Gun settings right there, on semi. Yep, and our safety. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. Looks like things are pretty spot on. If you have any problems, go ahead and refer back to the video. And thank you for watching, and thank you for looking to Prefab.